We all know Zeus and Odin will still be around the top by the end of the series with most people's rankings, but the other strongest gods may be changing around very soon, or perhaps are changed right now. This is because Record of Ragnarok, the apocalypse of the gods, has introduced honestly true monsters that may be way stronger than ones fighting in the main series. For example, we have Ra fighting right now, who just entered his transformation that is an outright amplification of his power, while already having narrative that is close to the level of Zeus, and now this new lore reveal. Ra wields a power that required countless gods from heaven working together to stop him from destroying humanity alone. This is when he went directly against the Gods Council, just doing his own thing, and with all that, they still failed to stop what Ra did to Egypt, the desert we have now, highlighting that these outer gods are honestly something else, with Ra being considered as one of the unstoppable outer gods. We have a god droid now, Morrigan, the goddess of war, who is regarded as an unbelievable outer god. And who knows what the others will be portrayed as in the future once we get to see all of them. Therefore, this is why we have hot takes like this already agreed on by many people in the fandom. Ra is both the better and stronger god of sun when compared to Apollo, and many more I'll be going over throughout today's video. Welcome to the new Ragnarok hot takes video here on the Mysterious Weeb YouTube channel. So when it comes to the fusion of Buddha and Zero, or Buddha using Zero as a pretty much divine weapon due to the Enlightened One having this ability, I would like to assume that this form will remain as one of the strongest in the entire series, but the amount we know about it is questionable, and whether or not we see Buddha achieve this state again or even wield a weapon in the future is also up for questioning, as when we did see Buddha fight post his Hajun victory against Odin, of course, he was relying on hand-to-hand combat, but even outside of that, his most overpowered ability is still his future vision, which could argue that he belongs in the top 5 regardless. But when comparing him to the likes of Beelzebub, who yes I do believe is top 3 still right now in the story when it comes to the strongest gods, mostly due to his overpowered ability known as Chaos that he revealed in his Tesla fight, and the narrative of him getting much stronger compared to his flashback where he faced Hades, due to the fact that he now has Divine Weapon, and we literally see him in the flashback trying out moves like Chaos in the Underworld. But then we also got this statement from Beelzebub when talking to Buddha: "You can come back and kill me, you probably would be able to do it." Which is likely how Beelzebub is showing respect to Buddha and his strength, but still a pretty crazy statement all things considered. It's also the last day you guys can get free worldwide shipping on anything from GamerSupps, which includes the free samples if you haven't tried. You can get access to all this using my link in the description and implementing code MWEEB. So I would honestly say this matchup between Poseidon and Apollo is definitely up in the air, but I'm still leaning towards the sun god due to how versatile he is, and then the crazy statements we got for his final attack against Leonidas when he pulled out his bow, the strongest hit of the divine, which should put his attack above the likes of Poseidon. But also you can argue other things like travel speed, the insane attacks Poseidon was using to get him above Apollo. But right now I'm still going to be ranking Apollo above Poseidon in really any tier list / ranking, but both of the gods are probably still regarded as top tiers compared to many of the others, with an all-out fight between these two probably going in either way considering the narrative we have for Poseidon and then the showings of Apollo during his Leonidas domination. When it comes to the comparison between Adam's Eyes of the Lord and Buddha's Future Sight, they are both some of the best abilities we have ever seen in Record of Ragnarok, but the Eyes of the Lord is probably still number 1 to this day due to the extent it was able to deal with Zeus's fist as a pastime, the spamming of that ability, and then everything else on top of that. There is arguments about the specifics of Adam's ability and whether it can copy human based things, but regardless of that, the Eyes of the Lord is absolutely broken. So this is definitely a hot take. I wouldn't say the design of his weapon was bad. It's more so the use of it most people have an issue with. Therefore, if you're only talking about the way it looks, I guess it's okay. But if I'm being honest, the most badass design wise and thing I was hyped for the most was during the final clash when the true shield came out, which I guess is still connected to the divine weapon itself, so maybe it's a fair take. Nostradamus foresaw Odin's plan and destroyed the Bifrost to sabotage it. I would honestly love for this to be true. Nostradamus is definitely one of the most interesting human fighters introduced to the series, being different to pretty much all the others, regarded as the Joker by Brunhilde, was imprisoned by the gods themselves, and is definitely going to have a crazy fight when he does get his turn. And then if we also connect to what Nostradamus is known for in the real world when it comes to history or mythology, whatever you want to consider it as, him doing something like this does in fact make sense and could build up Nostradamus vs Odin in the tournament even more, at least for people's reasoning as why this fight makes sense, which is definitely on the more likely end out of the possible matchups to me right now. I honestly think this is a fair take, mostly due to Apollo being considered the god of boxing, which would give him an innate advantage in that regard. But with that said, Shiva is stated as the best brawler in the heavens, meaning an argument for him may be better. We also have Zeus, who's just shown and confirmed as a hand-to-hand fighter mostly. It's low-key implied that he does kinda have a divine weapon, or has access to one at the very least. But every time we've seen the Supreme God fight in the series, including in all the flashbacks, it's always been him just throwing hands, so I guess not. I'll definitely say it's between Apollo and Shiva right now in the story though. However, when talking about his design, I would say yes, it's pretty good. Not one of the best in saying, I wouldn't say it's top 3 for me, but definitely up there, not a bad design at all. Hajun on the other hand is also around the middle range for me. I wouldn't say it's bad or one of the worst designs. I definitely have other characters I dislike more. For a Demon Lord, he was okay, especially in his initial reveal to the series, which was one of the most shocking and cool moments we've had. So out of all the possible endings for Ragnarok, I think this would probably be one of the worst. If the gods were to win, them destroying humanity is honestly a must, and if they don't, I will be kinda annoyed, but this is always a possibility. If any of you guys know anything about Elden Ring and what the Tarnished pretty much performs throughout the narrative of completing the game, this may be the case and levels upon levels above stuff in Ragnarok, but also maybe not, as some characters like Zeus are low-key cracked, but let me know down below. When it comes to a fight between Beelzebub and Thor, or breaking down which one is stronger, I would say as a whole, Beelzebub, again due to his overpowered abilities when it comes to offensive and defensive means, would be as a whole above Thor, but even recently the power of Thor is pretty much shown immensely, being able to pretty much stop the clash between Odin and Buddha and some of the other gods also involved, alongside probably being the physically strongest god in the entire series. But again, with all that said, it's possible that Beelzebub's defense could block Thor's hammer, which is kinda stated in some translations of his fight against Tesla, which is still pretty wild. I think this is commonly believed by most people at this point, considering all the reveals for Nostradamus compared to Kintoki. And then on top of this, Kintoki being scared of the guards of Tartarus, while Nostradamus, according to Brunhilde, is capable of killing the guards without any difficulty, does again put Nostradamus above Kintoki, and probably above a lot of the humans, making Nostradamus one of the strongest characters in the entire series, which is being set up over and over again at this point. Rasputin betraying humanity, I guess, is a theory amongst many theories. If you guys don't remember, during the early days of Ragnarok, a lot of people in the fandom believed Wang was the one that was going to betray humanity, but then once we got him revealed and had his fight, he's ended up being one of the most goated humans. So the theory about a human traitor could still happen, but I don't believe it's going to at this point. I would say Adam's entrance was definitely good, but the best for me is still Buddha to this day. Just the fact that he slowly walks out, doesn't stop at the god side, walks over to humanity and just outright betrays the gods, probably will remain as one of the greatest moments by the end of the series, and it's hard to see an entrance that's going to trump something like that. The climax of round 3 where Sasaki claimed the first victory for humanity will probably remain as one of the top 3 greatest moments in all of Ragnarok by the end of the series. And when it comes to giving hope to humanity, Adam definitely did it very well. Tesla had a cool moment or speech at the end of his fight with Beelzebub, but Sasaki probably above all of that due to, actually performing and claiming that dub against someone like Poseidon, who at a fandom perspective wasn't really liked and was definitely viewed as a little bit more of a monstrous god compared to the ones previously. Yes, you can say Zeus is stronger than Poseidon, but the betrayal of the sea god was definitely more menacing. So the current round 10 fight, Okita vs Susnor, I would say has been getting a lot better in the last few chapters, but one of the overarching issues shown throughout this entire fight is indeed the glaze Susnor has been providing Okita. Even in the most recent chapters, this is just endless glaze that is probably one of my biggest issues with this round as a whole. Particularly if after all of this, Okita does dominate Susnor in the final and claims that victory, making him seem like a pretty pathetic god, but again we'll have to wait and see. Apollo would have defeated Leonidas even without the bow, so low-key this may have been the case, and yes, it's a hot take, but one that may actually be true. Apollo was definitely at least one level above Leonidas, potentially even multiple, where the only close exchanges were really in the final or when the sun god was limiting himself in some sort of way. Zeus low-key knowing Odin's plan could be the case, even dropping the panel like a mad lad. I've mentioned this in videos before, but the way Zeus looked at Odin in this scene and then with what happened after that does make me believe Zeus knows what's going on. Susnor clears Hades. Based on what we've seen so far, I would say no, but it could be up in the air. I will be breaking down how strong Susnor is once this fight concludes. I definitely hope he has some type of transformation or power amp in the final as he's about to clash with the blue form or fused with the demon within form of Okita. But if not, maybe I'm going to be giving Hades some respect for the first time in a long while. Based on how he looks right now and his performance so far against Ra, it does not look good at all for him, but his transformation is likely about to occur, meaning he could have a chance, but at this point I would prefer Ra winning to remove any of this idea that there's a protagonist of this side manga, or some characters with any type of plot armor. But him damaging Ra once he does transform, or making the fight at the very least kinda close, is something I definitely believe we're gonna get. If Sun Wukong wins, he's gonna definitely betray the gods. Maybe, but this is Ragnarok. They don't really go exactly with the, mythology of certain characters. So this is probably the hottest take in today's video. The thing I've seen the fandom hate the most about Leonidas was his design in Ragnarok. For me personally, it was his motives for wanting to fight Apollo. However, did wield mad lad energy as a wild beast of a fighter, which was pretty cool all things considered. The perfect chance to get more people reading Tenkaichi. I would say right now and for quite some time, this series is the most underrated fighting manga that's currently ongoing, with amazing art and wild fights over and over again, which may include the series having harder panels than anything in Ragnarok. Let me know what you think down below. So when it comes to full power Shiva versus full power Hades, I would place these two on the same tier, and you could say the fight really goes either way. Hades has arguments and ways to defeat and kill Shiva, likewise for him as well, so either way, I'm slightly leaning towards Shiva, I'm not gonna lie, but I wouldn't say it's 100% that way. Hades could very well win, and maybe has better narrative arguments all things considered. I mean, it do be looking like that is indeed the case. This is kinda true, but the real peak of Ragnarok's popularity was after season 1 of the anime dropped. which for the manga was around the time of Hajun's reveal in the series, or at the ending stages of Buddha vs. Zero. Therefore, to conclude, we got 2 things about Rasputin. Where is bro? After all these years, he is still not yet returned. My hope is starting to fade. But if you haven't already, become a member like these mad lads. And yeah, that's it guys. Peace.